Here's a number that your doctor has almost certainly never mentioned to you: 90 milliseconds. That is how long your nervous system has to detect that you are falling and fire a protective response before it is too late to save yourself. Not 1 second, not even half a second, 90 milliseconds. And here's the alarming part. Most senior balance programs, the ones your physical therapist recommends, the ones you find in magazines, the ones your doctor hands you on a printed sheet, Narado are training a system that operates on a 1 to 2 second response time. They're training the wrong system entirely. Now, if you watched our last video on why seniors fall, you already know that the root cause isn't weak legs. It's a breakdown in the neurological signals that coordinate balance. If you haven't seen that one, I'll put a link above. It's worth watching first. But today we're going even deeper, because in that video I mentioned one exercise that almost every balance program is missing. The exercise that targets what neuroscientists call the reactive stepping reflex, your nervous system's automatic, hardwired last line of defense against a fall. And today I'm going to show you exactly what the reflex is, why it deteriorates with age, and 4 specific exercise progressions backed by research from the British Journal of Sports Medicine, the Journal of Gerontology, and Neuroscience Letters that systematically rebuild it. By the end of this video, you'll understand why slow, deliberate balance exercises, standing on one leg, heel-to-toe walks, are only half the equation. And you'll have a complete 4-stage training system you can begin using this week. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you changes everything about how you should be approaching fall prevention. Let's start with a question. If you've been doing balance exercises, and I hope you have, why do people who exercise regularly still fall? I don't mean people who never exercise. I mean people who are doing everything right. They're going to their balance class. They're doing their PT homework. They're standing on one foot while they brush their teeth. And then one day, they trip on a rug, or someone bumps into them in a grocery store, and down they go. The reason is this: there are 2 completely different balance systems in your body, and almost every standard program only trains one of them. The first system is what we call the anticipatory postural control system. This is the system that handles expected movement. When you decide to stand up from a chair, your brain sends a signal about half a second before you even start moving. It pre-adjusts your muscle tension, shifts your center of gravity, prepares your body for what's coming. This is the system that heel-to-toe walks and standing balance exercises train. It's important. Don't stop doing those exercises. But here's the problem. Falls don't happen during expected movements. Falls happen during unexpected ones. The moment your foot catches on an uneven sidewalk, you did not plan that. The moment someone bumps your shopping cart, you did not plan that. The moment your dog runs in front of you, you did not plan that. Those moments require a completely different system, the reactive postural control system. And this system operates on a fundamentally different mechanism. Instead of waiting for your brain to consciously plan a response, it relies on hardwired reflex loops, signals that travel from your feet and ankles up your spinal cord and back down to your muscles, bypassing slow conscious processing entirely. This is the reactive stepping reflex. And research published in the Journal of Neurophysiology has shown that in healthy young adults, this reflex fires in as little as 80 to 120 milliseconds after an unexpected perturbation. Incredibly fast, almost instant. But here is what the research also shows. And this is the part your doctor almost certainly has never told you. By age 65, the speed of this reactive stepping reflex has slowed by up to 40% compared to young adults. By age 75, it can be slower still. The reflex doesn't disappear, but it gets sluggish. And that 40 millisecond delay in a real fall, that's the difference between catching yourself and hitting the floor. But, and this is the crucial point, this decline is not inevitable. It is trainable. A landmark study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine followed two groups of older adults over 12 weeks. One group did standard balance training, the exercises you're probably already doing. The other group added reactive perturbation training. The result? The reactive training group showed a 50% reduction in fall rates during the follow-up period. The standard balance group showed about 20%. Same time commitment, same effort, dramatically different outcomes. The difference was which system they were training. So let's talk about how to train the right one. Before I give you the exercises, you need to understand exactly what's happening inside your nervous system in the fraction of a second between I'm losing balance and I've caught myself. Because understanding the mechanism is what makes these exercises make sense. When you receive an unexpected perturbation, a bump, a trip, a surface shift, your body goes through a very specific three-stage cascade. Stage 1, detection. Specialized sensory receptors in your ankle joints, called muscle spindles and Golgi tendon organs, detect the sudden stretch or force. These send an urgent signal up your spinal cord. This signal doesn't stop at your brain. Your spinal cord itself processes it and sends a reflex response back down before your conscious mind even registers that anything has happened. This spinal level reflex is your fastest line of defense. Stage 2, the reactive step. Your body does something remarkable. If the perturbation is large enough, if that initial spinal reflex isn't sufficient to restore balance, your nervous system initiates a reactive stepping response. One foot automatically swings out to widen your base of support and catch your center of gravity. This is not something you think about. You don't decide to take that step. Your nervous system does it for you. This is the reactive stepping reflex. Stage 3, restabilization. Once the reactive step lands, your hip and trunk muscles fire to stiffen the new base and prevent a secondary loss of balance. This is where core strength and hip strength actually matter. Not as the first line of defense, but as the cleanup crew. Now here's why this matters for training. When researchers at the Toronto Rehabilitation Institute studied what separates older adults who fall from those who don't, it wasn't leg strength. It wasn't even static balance scores. The single best predictor of fall risk was the speed and magnitude of the reactive stepping response. The people who fell were the ones whose reactive step was too slow, too small, or went in the wrong direction. And when you understand that falls are really a failure of this three-stage reflex cascade, you understand why training has to specifically target that cascade. You can't get there by standing on one foot. You have to actually practice being perturbed. This is what makes the 4 exercises I'm about to show you so different from anything in a standard balance program. Each one is designed to progressively challenge your reactive stepping reflex. From simple to complex, from assisted to independent, from single task to dual task, exactly the way a neuroscientist would design a training program. Let's go through each one. Exercise 1 is called partner-assisted perturbations, and it is the foundation of reactive neuromuscular training. The principle is simple. Your training partner creates unpredictable, unexpected challenges to your balance, and your nervous system learns to respond. Why does it need to be unpredictable? Because that's the only way to train the reactive system. The moment you can anticipate a perturbation, your anticipatory postural control system takes over. Your brain pre-plans the response. You're no longer training the reflex, you're training the plan. And a plan can't save you when you trip on a rug. How to do this safely? You'll need a partner, a spouse, an adult child, a friend. Do this exercise near a wall or sturdy furniture, but not holding on to it. The goal is to be freestanding with your support within reaching distance if needed. Level 1, shoulder taps. Stand normally, feet hip-width apart. Your partner stands slightly behind and to one side. Without telling you when or which direction, they apply a gentle but firm push to your shoulder. Not hard enough to knock you over, but firm enough to shift your center of gravity unexpectedly. Your only job is to respond naturally. Don't brace. Don't try to control the response. Let your body react. You'll feel your foot step out automatically. That's the reflex fire. That's exactly. 10 repetitions, then switch sides. Rest 60 seconds. 3 sets. The rule for your partner: unpredictable timing, unpredictable direction. Forward, back, left, right, diagonal. Never the same twice in a row. The unpredictability is the medicine. Level 2, hip pushes. Same setup, but now your partner applies perturbations at hip level instead of the shoulder. This lower contact point more closely mimics what happens in a real-world stumble. The perturbation is harder to anticipate and requires a more forceful reactive response. Same protocol, 10 reps, 3 sets, both sides. Level 3, eyes closed. Once you're comfortable with levels 1 and 2, typically after 2 to 3 weeks, progress to performing them with your eyes closed. Removing vision forces your nervous system to rely more heavily on your ankle proprioceptors and vestibular system, which are the systems most responsible for the reactive reflex in real-world conditions. This is a significant jump in difficulty. So go back to shoulder level taps when you first try it with eyes closed and make sure your wall or chair is very close. A note on safety. If you or your partner is unsure about how much force is appropriate, err significantly on the side of too gentle. The perturbation only needs to cause a small shift, a weight transfer, a half step. You're not trying to push anyone over. You're tickling the reflex, not overwhelming it. Do this exercise 3 times per week. You'll notice within 2 weeks that your reactive step is faster, larger, and more automatic. This is your nervous system adapting. Exercise 2 is designed for the days when you don't have a partner available. I call them solo weight shift drills, and they're more demanding than they look. The goal here is to deliberately bring your center of gravity to the edge of your base of support, and then recover. You're creating a self-induced perturbation, which trains your reactive system differently than partner perturbations, but with overlapping benefits. Research from the Journal of Gerontology shows that daily weight shift training alone can reduce reactive response latency by 18 to 25% over 6 weeks. Drill 1, the lateral lean recovery. Stand near a countertop with your fingertips just barely resting on the surface, not gripping, just touching for emergency contact. Feet hip-width apart. Slowly shift your weight to your right foot until your left foot just barely lifts off the floor. Hold for 1 to 2 seconds. Then shift back to center and continue shifting left until your right foot lifts. Now here's the key. You're not just balancing statically, You're controlling the speed of that shift. Start slow. As you improve, increase the speed of the shift so that you have to make a reactive correction when you reach the edge. You're essentially practicing the moment just before stumble. That's a split second where your body has to decide whether to correct or step. 3 sets of 10 shifts per side. Drill 2, forward lean and recover. This one mimics the most dangerous fall scenario, forward tripping. Stand about 18 inches from a wall facing it. Hands at your sides. Slowly lean forward from the ankles. Not the waist until you feel your weight shift significantly forward. Then recover. Do not grab the wall. Do not take a step. Practice the recovery. When you can consistently recover from a significant forward lean without stepping or touching the wall, progress to lean forward and let yourself take 1 reactive step forward. Then stop. Control the step. This is your nervous system practicing the protective stepping response in a controlled environment. 3 sets of 10 lean cycles. Drill 3, tandem stance. Perturbation. Stand heel to toe, your right heel touching your left toe, or vice versa. This is called tandem stance, and it significantly narrows your base of support in the lateral direction. Now perform small self-initiated shifts in weight. Left, right, forward, back, staying in tandem stance. This stance is inherently unstable, which means your stabilizing muscles fire at much higher rates, and your reactive system stays primed. Even a small shift feels significant. This is exactly the training stimulus you want. If tandem stance is too challenging initially, start with a slightly staggered stance, 1 foot 6 inches in front of the other, and work toward full heel to toe over time. Hold tandem stance for 30 seconds to 1 minute, performing continuous micro weight shifts throughout. 3 repetitions, the principle underlying all 3 drills. You are deliberately approaching the boundary of your base of support and practicing the recovery. Every repetition is 1 more time your nervous system has rehearsed the scenario. The more rehearsals, the faster and more automatic the response becomes. Exercise 3 takes everything we've built and adds a variable that dramatically amplifies the training signal. An unstable surface. Here's the physiological reason this works so well. When you stand on a firm, flat surface, your ankle proprioceptors are receiving a very clean, predictable signal. Your nervous system can almost coast. But the moment you stand on a slightly unstable surface, a foam pad, a folded yoga mat, a balance cushion, your ankle proprioceptors are flooded with constantly changing input. The stabilizing muscles fire continuously. And crucially, your reactive stepping reflex is on a much shorter trigger because your margin for error is reduced. Research from Neuroscience Letters demonstrated that just 4 weeks of unstable surface training produced measurable increases in the speed and magnitude of the reactive stepping response. Greater improvements than were seen with the matched amount of flat surface training. You don't need expensive equipment. A folded yoga mat 2 to 3 inches thick works perfectly. A couch cushion on the floor can work. A specialized foam balance pad costs about $25 and is a worthy investment. Whatever you use, it should give slightly under your weight, but not so much that it completely absorbs the challenge. Level 1, static standing on foam. Stand on your foam surface, feet hip width apart, near a wall or counter for safety. Simply stand there. Don't try to be still. Let your body sway and find its own micro corrections. You'll notice your ankles working much harder than they do on the floor. Good. That's the training. Start with 30 seconds, build to 2 to 3 minutes over several weeks. This is deceptively challenging. Level 2, weight shifts on foam. Now perform the lateral weight shift drill from exercise 2, but on the foam surface. The combination of a narrow base signal and an unstable surface creates a training environment. Your nervous system has to work very hard to navigate. This is where many people first discover just how much the reactive system has declined and where the most rapid gains often occur. 10 weight shifts per side, 3 sets. Level 3, partner perturbations on foam. This is the advanced combination. You stand on the foam pad. Your partner applies unpredictable shoulder-level perturbations. Your nervous system is already overloaded processing the unstable surface. Then, an unexpected external force arrives. This is the closest thing to real-world fall conditions that you can safely recreate at home. A patch of ice, a slippery floor, an unexpected bump. Your nervous system will hate it at first. That discomfort is adaptation in progress. Start with very gentle perturbations. Progress over several weeks. One critical safety note for this exercise: always have your wall within arm's reach. Have a partner present. And never perform unstable surface training when you're fatigued immediately after meals, or if you have any acute joint pain. Fatigue is when the reactive system fails. So see, that's true in training as well as real life. The fourth and final exercise category is the most important one that nobody ever includes in a balance program. It's called dual task training, and it addresses a gap that the first 3 exercises, as effective as they are, cannot fully close. Here's the problem they don't address. In real life, you never fall while focused entirely on balance. You fall while you're thinking about something else. You fall while you're carrying groceries and having a conversation. You fall while you're looking at your phone and stepping off a curb. You fall when your mental resources are already occupied. And that's precisely when your balance systems need to work automatically, without conscious support. Neuroscientists call this the attentional cost of balance. In older adults, maintaining upright stance under challenging conditions draws significantly more on conscious attentional resources than it does in younger adults. The balance system is less automatic. It needs more mental supervision, which means the moment you divide your attention, your balance performance drops. Dual task training fixes this by forcing your nervous system to learn how to maintain reactive stability while simultaneously processing other information. Over time, the balance system becomes more automatic. It demands less conscious supervision, and your reactive reflex operates more reliably even when your mind is occupied. The research on this is compelling. A study in the journal Gait and Posture followed older adults who performed balance training with a concurrent cognitive task versus those who did balance training alone. After 10 weeks, the dual task group showed superior reactive stepping performance and, critically, greater transfer to real-world walking conditions. Dual task variant 1, balance plus verbal task. Perform any of the first 3 exercises: static standing, weight shifts, foam standing, while simultaneously counting backwards from 100 by 3s, or recite the months of the year backwards, or name every U.S. president you can remember. The specific cognitive task matters less than the fact that it genuinely occupies mental resources. If you can do the balance exercise and the cognitive task at the same time without either one suffering, the task isn't hard enough. You should feel the pull of divided attention. Dual task variant 2, balance plus manual task. Perform your standing or weight shift exercise while passing a small ball from hand to hand, or while reaching out to touch a designated point on the wall at different heights, or while sorting a deck of playing cards. Any manual task that requires visual attention and upper limb coordination qualifies. The key is that your eyes are not free to focus on the floor or your feet. Your balance system has to work without that visual input. Dual task variant 3, walking perturbations. This is the most advanced variant and should not be attempted until you've been doing the first 3 exercises for at least 4 to 6 weeks. Walk a short path, about 20 feet, while your partner walks alongside you and applies unpredictable gentle pushes to your shoulder. Not while you're stationary, while you're walking. Walking perturbation training most closely replicates real-world fall scenarios. Being bumped in a crowd, losing footing mid-stride, and research consistently shows it produces the largest gains in real-world fall reduction. Again, safety first. Start on a smooth floor, near a wall, with a partner. Short distances. Gentle perturbations. You can progress significantly over 6 to 8 weeks. Before you take any of this to the gym or try it on your own, there's one critical thing I need you to understand, and it is probably the most important 90 seconds of this entire video. These exercises work precisely because they challenge your balance system. They're not like stretching. They are not gentle. Done incorrectly, not too aggressively, without appropriate safety setup when you're fatigued, they can cause a fall rather than prevent one. So here are the non-negotiable rules. Rule 1, always train near support. A wall, a counter, a sturdy chair, not holding it, but close enough that if a reactive step isn't sufficient, your hand can find it in half a second. Rule 2, never train when tired. Reactive training requires a nervous system that is alert and responsive. Train in the morning or early afternoon. Never train at the end of a long day or after a large meal. Rule 3, progress slowly. I've given you level 1, level 2, and level 3 progressions for a reason. Do not skip to level 3 because it sounds more effective. Level 1 for 2 weeks, level 2 for 2 weeks, only then level 3. The nervous system adapts on a timeline of weeks, not days. Rule 4, check with your doctor or physical therapist first if you have any history of vestibular disorders, significant neuropathy in your feet, recent joint replacement, or if you've had a fall in the last 90 days that resulted in injury. Reactive training is appropriate for the vast majority of older adults, but those specific conditions require a supervised starting point. Rule 5, consistency beats intensity. 3 sessions per week, each 15 to 20 minutes, produces better results than 1 long weekly session. Your nervous system adapts through repetition and frequency, little and often. Follow those 5 rules, progress through the 4 exercise categories in order, and you will be training the system that actually prevents falls. Not just the system that looks good on a balance scorecard. If you've made it this far, you now understand something about fall prevention that most people, including most doctors, have never been told. Falls are not a strength problem. They're a reflex problem, and reflex problems have reflex solutions. 4 exercises, 4 progressions. Start this week with exercise 1, even if you only do 5 minutes. That first reactive step your nervous system takes is the beginning of rewiring 40 years of gradual decline. If this video helped you, please share it with someone you love who's over 60. This is information that genuinely changes lives, and most people will never find it on their own. Next week, we're covering something that affects 80% of seniors and almost no one talks about in the context of falls: your footwear. The specific design features in the average comfortable walking shoe that are actively destroying your proprioceptive feedback, and the simple fix that costs nothing. Don't miss it. I'll see you then. Stay strong, stay upright.